Hey there, welcome to Trapping the Time. I'm Pablo, and in today's video, we're going to review one of the most important sales phenomena of the last few years, in one of its recent versions. It is the Casioak GBM-2100. The first thing we want to do is to thank you all, because this week we have reached 40,000 subscribers to our Spanish channel. Our greatest love and thanks to all of you for making this dream possible. And also, of course, to thank Casioak España that, when we suggested to them the possibility of reviewing this watch, they sent us the 4 available colors of this new model, and you can see it. Each one more beautiful. With the steel color case, there are 3 shades: sky blue, green, and black. I think that of these 3, I would choose the green one. But the one I like the most by far is the one with the black case and white strap. But if you see that these do not convince you, do not deprive yourself to take a look at their website. I counted no less than 110 options available for this watch. From $99 to $549. But almost 98% are in the $100 to $300 range, depending on finishes and features. Do not forget that some have Bluetooth connection and others do not. Something that has caught my attention is that these new models do not have the same price. The one with the black dial and steel case is the cheapest, €249. Then blue and green, $259. And finally, the one I like the most is the most expensive and costs €269. In September 2022, we review a sibling of these, the GBM-2100. A fantastic watch for performance, but with rather precarious materials, to put it delicately. Plastic all over, case, strap, markers. In general, the visual perception is of a cheap watch. And okay, it was my fault for choosing yellow. Such a garish color is a poor disguise for its nature. But the fact is that it was not so cheap either. I think it cost about €150. And as it is one of the watches that we have used the most, I can show you how it has deteriorated aesthetically, and it is not dirt. It's been months since I first noticed it was starting to get like this. I grabbed an old toothbrush and first hit it with neutral bath gel and cold water. When I saw that it did not come out, what I thought was dirt, I grabbed the dishwashing soap I had in the kitchen, hot water, and then scrubbed and scrubbed. First with the brush, and then with a cloth. And there was no way. I think it's actually more like faded than dirty. But I don't think that's possible either because it's a solid color. So what is the reason for this aspect? I assign it to the porosity of the material. But the truth is that it has me a bit puzzled. Although I also tell you one thing, I almost like it better this way. It's like worn out jeans. It has the look that comes from use. War marks, as I call them. And I also have to say that just as the resin has degraded, and I wasn't counting on that, what I was afraid of was that the crystal would... mineral. With the intensive use given to this watch, it was going to grate. And not at all. It has been trotted significantly and does not show the slightest scratch. It is as immaculate as when it arrived. And so I am very surprised in both ways, negative in one and positive in the other. And let's review today's main characters. Having seen the yellow, you can get an idea of what I would improve on this watch. And better than explaining it, I'll show it to you. No more and no less than what they have done. That is, significantly improve their appearance, providing them with better materials in bezel, case, dial, hands, markers. In practically all, with the doubt of the straps. Go specifically the white strap. After the previous one, I'm afraid that this even lighter color will suffer the same kind of wear. But for everything else, it is obvious that the improvement is remarkable. However, the functionality is exactly the same, and if you want to know it, we leave the tag of that video up here. In today's video, we are going to focus only on observing the differences. Is this 60% price increase justified? Let's take a look at it. The first and big difference is the metal casing that serves as bezel, case, lugs. In 3 of them it is finished in steel color, and in this one, which is the one I like the most, with black PVD finish. This piece alone makes a big difference, without a doubt the one that makes the most difference. Another completely different aspect, although I already knew that, as one of the first watches I bought was this 5600 I don't know what. I don't remember its nomenclature now. It is the most classic Casio digital format, the one I remember all my life since I started to see them in the shop windows, back in the 1980s. The second difference is the strap, of the same material. Ecological resin, but in this case more finely decorated, with a pattern of squares that get smaller and smaller, as we get to the extreme, where they end up as points. The third is the markers. Along with the Rayhout, it was what bothered me most about the yellow because of its distinctly plastic look. In this new one, it has been half solved, and I explain. They are not metallic markers as they appear to be, but have a silver-colored PVD, or physical vapor deposition coating, that makes them appear to be made of steel. Even for the brightness and how they play with light, they also have a very nice groove, and therefore the improvement is an honorable mention. There is a world of difference. I look at the yellow one and see 12 gray plastic stickers. I look at this one and, well, as you can see, I think there is no poor place to compare them. With respect to this topic, I would like to comment on something that I have always thought until I saw the MRG. That a G-Shock could not be fitted with metal applied indexes, being these watches designed for a very hard use. Such markers could compromise the proper functioning of the watch. If one of them gets loose, it can be a real mess. And I don't know if this has a basis or is pure speculation, but when I saw that the Mudmaster also had plastic indexes, that was the thought I had. And back to the ones we have in our hands. I don't know if it's because of what I've just pointed out, but the thing is that Casio have nailed it. These new ones even look unbecoming of such an inexpensive watch. You see them, and even knowing that they are made of plastic and PVD coated, it blows you away to see how multifaceted they are, and how they have been expertly cut to fit their surroundings. Thus we see that at 4 o'clock, at 5 o'clock, at 8 o'clock, at 9 o'clock, and at 10 o'clock they have different shapes, adapting to their context. If I compare them with their predecessor, I must say that these remind me more of the MRG, because those were metallic, applied, and with design details and finishes that I had never seen before. The fourth difference is the lumen, which is not only on the needles as the other one, on all hour markers and on the 12, 3, 6, and 9 o'clock indexes. In this case, the empty space above them is painted in orange, which for me is the definitive color, and why I like this color better than the others. That touch of color makes it more sporty, and its brothers who do not wear it, I see them as more elegant. Although all of them have that dual personality, and that is the most remarkable thing that they have achieved. They have managed that a purely sporty, resistant, analog and digital watch can also function as a modern dress watch, in 3rd millennium version. It's time to thank all these friends you see on screen, also our members for their great support. We leave you the link to our Patreon in the description of the video, in case you want to check all the advantages that our patrons have. Let's do the lumen test. Although we already know that the result will be humiliating for Casioak. I'll tell you one thing though, having the LED that illuminates everything who needs luminous paste. Fifth difference, the hands. On the one hand, they keep that obelisk or spaceship shape, but they have slimmed them down significantly, and that results in a much better look. Although for functionality purposes the yellow ones are irreproachable, but I think these look not as good, but enough to be perfectly serviceable and quite a bit more beautiful. They have increased the size of the counterweight and have finished it in 2 tones. With the naked eye, I can't see if they are also ribbed in the center. Anyway, I must also add that I find them much better looking. This one my favorite than the others. The 6th difference is the riot, or rehout. I would bet that there is nothing metallic in there as well. Not even the needles. But since I'm not going to take it apart to get out of doubt, what I can say is that the improvement is noticeable. The part where the minute markers are located has a sandblasted paint that greatly improves the previous one. And that's not counting the decoration of the orange rectangles that I've said before. For me, they are definitive. They make a very noticeable difference with that small detail. Seventh difference, the sphere. This one is decorated with a rectangular pattern, also made by vapor deposition, on top of a sphere having a sunburst effect. I don't know how they did it, but at times it emits pearly sparkles that I'm still wondering where they come from. What I can say once again is that Casioak are the kings of the mambo, making the most of inexpensive materials. How do they make a simple watch look like more than what it is? I think they have no competition in that. And we come to the 8th and last difference that I have found. If you see any more, I will read you in the comments. This one is subtle, but once you see them, you realize it. I am referring to the push buttons. Now they protrude a couple of millimeters more, or maybe not so much, but enough to look like what they are. The previous ones looked like buttons and were not so easy to find by touch in the dark. Apart from the fact that aesthetically they look much better this way. And so much for this game of the 8 differences that I can summarize as a change for the better. It looks like a different watch, so that you can observe the differences between the 4 new ones. We put them together on screen for you to draw your own conclusions. The most notable between them, besides the obvious one which is the color of the dial, are the LED display which is black in the green one, and in this one, and white in the other 2. I tell you that for practical purposes, the white one is much better. The other, most of the time, is unseen. This is why the light push button must be used so often, since not only the LED that illuminates the clock, but also the digital display lights up. And because it's a solar-charged watch, you don't have that stress of not spending as much to make the battery last longer. Some of you have asked how long a sundial battery lasts, and the truth is that I can't tell because my oldest sundial is just over 4 years old. And since I always have them exposed to the light, I hope they still have a long way to go. But if any of you have the experience, I would appreciate it if you could share it in the comments. How long has the accumulator or battery of your sundials lasted, and what brand were they? This is something we would all like to know. And that's all for today. Thank you very much to Casioak for their support. And also to you for seeing us and staying until the end. More soon, God willing.